It was the beginning of 2019. Julian Newman, the internet sensation known for his dazzling handles and deep three-pointers, was about to face his biggest challenge yet. The flashy star of Downey Christian, coached by his father, was going head-to-head against one of the most feared high school programs in the country, IMG Academy. This wasn't just another game. This was a spectacle, a showdown between two completely different worlds. On one side, you had Newman, a player more famous for his social media highlights than his actual on-court achievements. He gained notoriety as a small kid with crazy ball handling skills, breaking ankles and knocking down ridiculous shots since middle school. For years, Julian had been cooking lesser competition and building an enormous online following. On the other side, you had IMG Academy, a basketball factory that routinely churns out Division I stars and future NBA prospects. They didn't care about fame or flashy mixtapes. They were all about substance and winning. For Julian and his dad Jamie, this game was their Super Bowl. Jamie, the king of hyperbole, hyped the matchup as if a win over IMG would launch Julian into the upper echelon of high school basketball. This was more than just a game. It was a statement. At least, that's what the Newmans believed. But for IMG, it was just another night on the hardwood. There was another factor that made this game irresistible to fans, the burning question that had followed Julian for years. Was he really as good as his viral clips made him out to be, or was he just a walking highlight reel with no real substance? The showdown with IMG was about to provide some long-awaited answers. As the teams warmed up, the tension in the gym was palpable. Could Julian Newman, the YouTube sensation, hold his own against a team stacked with future college and NBA players? The world was about to find out. From the very first possession, it was clear that this was going to be a long night for Downey Christian. IMG Academy came out with a purpose. They ran their offense like a well-oiled machine. Their ball movement was crisp, and their spacing was perfect. It wasn't just talent. These guys played as a unit, and they were locked in from the jump. Julian Newman, on the other hand, looked like a kid who had accidentally wandered into a men's league game. All those flashy crossovers and deep-range threes that made him a star online? IMG's defense swallowed them whole. From the get-go, IMG's long athletic defenders closed off every angle. Julian tried his signature dribble moves to create space, but they had him locked down. It was like watching someone try to break out of a cage with no key. It quickly became clear that Julian's bag of tricks, which had embarrassed lesser opponents, wasn't gonna work against these future Division I stars. IMG's defense was suffocating, rotating seamlessly and contesting every shot. As much as Julian tried to create something out of nothing, his efforts fell flat. You could see the frustration boiling over. He was trapped. IMG wasn't just dominating on defense. Their offense was a clinic in team basketball. Whether it was a crisp pass from the perimeter to a cutting big man or an open shooter draining a three, IMG's offense was poetry in motion. Every possession felt like a chess master picking apart a novice, moving the pieces exactly where they wanted and striking with precision. By halftime, the scoreboard was a nightmare for Downey Christian. IMG was up by 27 at half, and you could already see the Newmans deflate. What had been billed as a career-defining moment for Julian had turned into a one-sided massacre. If the first half was brutal, the second half was a complete annihilation. IMG shifted into high gear, and the game turned into a highlight reel, but not the kind Julian was used to starring in. IMG's players started throwing down dunks, launching alley-oops, and running fast breaks as if they were playing against a middle school team. The gap between the two teams was almost laughable. IMG had bigger, stronger, and faster athletes, and it felt like every possession was an opportunity for a SportsCenter-worthy play. For Julian, it was an absolute nightmare. His frustrations continued to mount as the game spiraled out of control. His father Jamie, who had been so vocal before the game, could only watch in silence as the beatdown unfolded. As the clock ticked down, IMG put the finishing touches on a victory that was never in doubt. The final score? A jaw-dropping 97-37 blowout. That's right, IMG won by 60 points. but the 60-point margin almost didn't do justice to just how dominant they were. It felt worse than the numbers showed. Downey Christian had been outclassed in every aspect of the game – defensively, offensively, physically, and mentally. IMG looked like a team ready for March Madness, while Downey resembled a rec league squad that had wandered into the wrong gym. As the final whistle blew, the internet erupted with reactions. Social media had a field day, with memes and comments flooding in from every corner of the basketball world. The game was trending, and it wasn't because of Julian's flashy plays. No, this time the internet was ablaze with the reality check the Newmans had just received. People who had once debated Julian's status as a potential top-tier prospect now had their answer. The game against IMG put everything in a perspective. Julian wasn't a bad player, but against elite competition, his game wasn't nearly enough. For IMG Academy, it was just business as usual. They collected another victory on their march toward national dominance. They didn't care about Julian Newman's social media following. They only cared about winning, and they did that in the most emphatic way possible. A big part of why this game was so lopsided came down to the sheer talent disparity. Let's take a closer look at the key players from IMG that night. Josh Green, a 6'6" guard from Australia, was a revelation. A 5-star recruit, Green had the athleticism and basketball IQ that made him a nightmare for opposing defenses. He was unstoppable in transition and had a smooth jumper from beyond the arc. It wasn't just his scoring though. Green's defense on Julian Newman was stifling. He made Julian's night a living hell by constantly contesting shots and cutting off drives. Armando Bacot, the 6'10" big man, dominated the paint. Whether it was grabbing rebounds, blocking shots, or finishing around the rim, Bacot was a force that Downey had no answer for. His physicality overwhelmed Julian's teammates, who simply couldn't compete with his size and skill. Noah Farrakhan, a flashy 6'2" guard with insane handles, tore Downey apart. Farrakhan was quick as lightning and seemed to toy with Downey's defense. His dribble moves were mesmerizing, and his ability to get to the rim at will left Downey defenders grasping at air. These three weren't just stars, they were future college standouts and potential NBA players, and on that night, they showed exactly why. For Julian, this game was a turning point. He was no longer the YouTube prodigy that could get by with mixtapes and flashy plays. The reality was simple: there's a massive gap between social media fame and elite-level basketball. Julian had skill, but not the kind that could carry a team against top-tier talent like IMG. His ball handling and deep threes made for great highlights, but when it came to orchestrating an offense, playing defense, and leading a team, he fell short. For years, his father had hyped him up as the next big thing, but after this game, the cracks in the narrative were visible for all to see. Fast forward to today, and the paths of these players couldn't be more different. IMG continues to produce elite talent, with guys like Josh Green making waves in the NBA for the Dallas Mavericks. Armando Bacot became a star at North Carolina, cementing himself as one of college basketball's premier big men. Noah Farrakhan is still making his mark in college basketball with his electrifying style of play. As for Julian Newman, he never played college basketball and instead pursued a career in entertainment and social media. He and his family continue to focus on their YouTube channel and reality show, but in terms of basketball, the IMG game was a sobering reminder of just how far away he was from the elite level. The night Julian Newman and Downey Christian faced IMG Academy wasn't just a game, it was a wake-up call. IMG showed why they're the gold standard of high school basketball, while Julian learned that viral fame doesn't equate to success on the hardwood. In the end, this game will be remembered not just for the blowout, but for the reality check it delivered. It was a clash of worlds, and only one side emerged unscathed. If you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss any of our future content. And let us know in the comments, do you think this game was the beginning to the end of Julian Newman's career? Let us know in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.